Oh yeah. Good fish. And they're good fighters. This is a perfect way to start it. He's going to be a big runner. This guy is not happy that I hooked him. Today, guys, we're going to run a 2-part special. Oh, coming up. Oh, yep. And the fish that we're chasing is going to be smallmouth, but this tactics will apply to all fish. We're going to talk about some boat control, we're going to talk about presentations and locations, and we're going to put it all to practice in the second use and get some nice ones. Come here, big girl. Perfect. Perfect way to start her. Nice big gal. She can have it. That is a perfect smallmouth to start this show off with. You know, it gets lost a lot about presentation and location and just how to exactly fish, you know, these fish, but all fish in general. And we're going to focus more on smallmouth, but the tips and tricks throughout these 2-part shows really going to help you fish every kind of fish that you fish. That's a beautiful way to start it. I'm going to get this girl back and explain a little bit. Perfect. So that fish came off what I call a mid-lake structure. It's a mid-lake reef that's out here, hump, I guess you could call it. And that fish was what I call on a spot-on-spot. A spot-on-spot is you have this big, wide reef or hump, but there's certain little areas throughout these spots that will hold and attract fish, more so than just a blank drop line. Now that fish there came off of what we call a saddle. And a saddle is something that's a little bit of a high rise between some shoreline structure and mid-lake structure. And saddles can be very important. Mid-lake structures, especially in the heat of the summer, it's about 85 degrees out, dead calm right now. Those fish are deep. Cooler water, they're closer to the thermocline, their bait fish is there. And a lot of times that's where these fish are going to be in the middle of summer. I got to get a hook on and get back down there. A good bite. This fish is actually swimming with the boat. Tells me I'm trolling right along the path that they're going here. Right out of their mouth. That's okay. It's a good opportunity to talk a little bit about boat control. You know, I was saying earlier how boat control is so important. And it truly is. You know, especially like, just for instance, today we're Lindy rig fishing and I'm using my bow mount just for the simple fact that I'm able to sit back here, control it with this, and I've got it linked to my depth finder. So I can actually write a track out on my depth finder, tell my bow mount to follow that track back and forth. I can set a cruise control on here to go to 0.5 to 3 miles an hour if I want, and I don't have to worry about the boat. I can concentrate on my fishing. But like I was saying, your boat control is acting as your lure, especially when you're doing this kind of fishing. You're going to be right over top of the fish. Pay attention to your electronics, because your electronics are going to tell you where those break lines are. Those map chips that you can get in new depth finders, it's just amazing. There's no secrets anymore. But your electronics are going to tell you where those fish are at, what depth they're in, what weeds are, where the weed line is. And a lot of times it'll show you, on all these new map chips, it'll show you exactly where those contours come. And if you watch that, you'll be able to anticipate those corners, those points, those pockets, everything that's coming up in your way. And you're going to be able to move around, move through, move over top, whatever you want to do with that boat. And it's going to put a lot more fish in your boat. So pay close attention to your boat control, because it works. Yeah. Coming up. Just a little guy. Another one hits the net. Perfect fish. Look at that guy. Nice. There, she's got it. Good fish. Ooh. Man, they fight. You know, Lindy rigging for smallmouth is kind of a, I wouldn't say an odd technique, but a lot of people really don't do it. You know, smallmouth people think of hair jigs, X-wraps, drop shots, and those are all good techniques. They will work here, but you know, when the fishing's tough and you got to get some smallmouths, or even if you got some maybe inexperienced anglers in the boat, Lindy rigging can be a very easy way to get these fish all season long, but more or less in the summer months. This is a nice fish. Beautiful. Right in the lip. Come on. There we go. Another gorgeous fish falls to the Lindy rig. You know what I'm saying about Lindy rigs is it might not be the most common thing. People do use it, but don't be afraid to think outside the box for any kind of fish species, especially these guys. They'll eat just about anything if you get on top of them. We'll get her back. And I say get on top of them, goes back to the summer location deals. And then in our next part, we're gonna put all this into practice. So make sure you're here next week. But locations for summertime smallmouth usually include deep areas if you're in a lake. Now if you're in a river, rocks, points, brush, any of those spots that looked overhang, got a little shadow on them, there's gonna be dynamite spots for smallmouth. Lakes, if you get the right days, fish could be up shallow on rocks. A lot of times those fish will drop off a little deeper, 15 to 30 feet of water. That's where you can experiment a lot with your presentations. Pull some spinner rigs, pull Lindy rigs, pull some hair jigs, drop shots, whatever you want to do. Just make sure you tune in next week because we're going to get a lot of these nice fish. It's going to be a lot of fun. You guys have a good one. We'll see you next week.